Hi, Eric.
Hi.
So you're from United States?
I am, yeah, I'm from the state of Arizona.
Excellent. So I would like you to describe briefly what is the Academia Vivarium Novum, where we are right now, and what happens, which are the languages that are spoken here, and how the whole academy works.
Right. So the Academia Vivarium Novum is a school which conducts itself entirely in classical Latin or classical Greek, which are the two languages, obviously, of antiquity. And the reason we do that here is because throughout the day we spend hours in school, in classes, doing basically the studies of the classical humanists. And what that entails is that we spend a lot of our time studying philosophy, history, music, and poetry for the purpose of basically answering those unanswerable questions from the human tradition, from the Western tradition especially, such as, you know, what is the good life and how do we attain that? And the reason we conduct our classes in Latin and Greek is because those are the languages which many of those texts were written in, and it was the language of the times by which we sort of get that tradition. And so the school conducts itself in Latin and Greek so as to teach, not only to teach young people these languages which time immemorial has deemed very important to know, but also for the purpose of actually becoming more human, to become in touch with that long-standing tradition, which in our modern languages we might have been slightly alienated from. And so it stems just from the belief that it's better to study those questions in the languages from which they've come down to us. And that's largely what we do here. We wake up early in the morning and we start right away learning Latin, learning Greek, and studying those questions. So
between you speak Latin and ancient Greek.
Yes.
And everything is in those languages, actually.
Yeah, all the classes, all of the meals, everything is conducted in that way. In fact, it's sort of contrary to the rules here to speak any other such language.
Yeah, of course. The aim is to practice these languages. Yeah.
And part of the idea for that
so
is...
we are actually, right now we are contradicting the rules.
Yes, yeah. Actually some of the most English I've spoken in a long while. So, and part of the idea of that is that not only do we study, not only do we speak these languages for the purpose of study, but we have students that come here, and of course the school is situated in Rome. We have students that come from all over the world to this academy, and obviously we don't all speak every student's language. But what is amazing is that when we come here and we all learn Latin and Greek, we all speak it, there is an aspect to Latin and Greek which is international, it's universal, because of the fact that, you know, it's largely quote unquote dead, as in no nation speaks it as its official language. But there's a connectedness that can be attained because of the fact that we all speak it and we all learn it, that animosities between nations no longer exist, because we find a certain amount of kinship in the speaking of a common tongue. Yeah.
So how do you perceive Latin or ancient Greek as lingua franca instead of modern English, for example? For you, you are American, so how do you perceive this difference in the rest of the world? The lingua franca right now is English. In most cases.
Well,
now you are an American that you are used to use English
all the time,
all the time outside, and then here the lingua franca is not anymore English. So how do you perceive this thing?
Well, I think it's actually quite remarkable because even in a sort of modern language like English, which is spoken almost universally across the world, there is sort of a connotation that goes along with it. And there's certainly a culture that's attached with English, and there's really two cultures at least, if not more. And so, you know, as an American, you bring that in and you speak English with everybody, but everybody sort of has their own connotations, their own sort of perspectives on that culture. And a lot of the times, I mentioned the animosities, for example. Animosities exist purely because you're using English and the connotations attached with language, and obviously culture and language are inextricable. But if you use a language like Latin and Greek, and because of their long time standing, because of their sort of dead nature, quote unquote, you use a language like Latin, and all of a sudden there isn't so much animosity. In fact, there isn't animosity. Why? Because the culture that's attached with that language doesn't have a immediate bearing to anybody in the modern world, and so you're all of a sudden both speakers of that language are now attached to a culture which they have in common, instead of both using a language which has a particular culture, which, for example, a person from Spain might not have the same culture that an actual fluently speaking English person would have. But if we both speak Latin, then we have a connectedness in that language because we both share the culture which is attached to it.
As an Esperanto speaker, I understand this thing very well. Okay, and so and now going to more personal questions. What have you? Why have you decided to come here?
To the
which were the reasons and your expectations, and what have you found here as values and as for the study?
Well, I came here, I found out about the Academy through a letter, and really what attracted me at first was really the prospect of learning Latin and Greek fluently, because the message of the Academy was very straightforward. It was very clear from the beginning. You will have a full command. By the end, you will learn very quickly, and you'll be able to conduct these studies. And I was a person already predisposed to the study of the humanities, and that was largely what I was doing in the American university. And so I wanted to learn Latin and Greek already for that purpose, and this was the message of the school: come learn Latin and Greek. But then I was very surprised to find that it was not just a language school, which they were very upfront about as well, because they wanted to make sure that people applying knew that what we do here is not just study Latin and Greek so that you know Latin and Greek. What we do is actually we study the humanities, and through the humanities you learn Latin and Greek. And that idea, especially of course in the great city of Rome, that was just a prospect I couldn't pass up. But that prospect, that idea was really something unique, something remarkable, something you definitely don't see too much in America. And so I was not going to have an opportunity to study Latin and Greek in my university, and this was sort of like a godsend. It was sort of something I really saw as a great opportunity. What I expected was basically an environment where there would be like-minded people who saw what I saw in that message, and who would come here wanting to not only study Latin and Greek, but would want to come seeking an understanding of those questions, like what is a good life, and how do we live it, and how do we attain it. And so largely I expected a sort of scholastic atmosphere where that would be the case. And what I found when I came here, I was both I found that my expectations were both founded, and also I was pleasantly surprised, because there's something about the connectedness with actual Latin and the language that I was not expecting, but perhaps should have. And what I mean is that I came here sort of with an idea similar to the American university, and I was pleasantly surprised that was not the case. And there's an atmosphere here which I can describe only short of being magical, and to the sense that you're not going to find many other places, if any, where you have a group of students that work tirelessly through the week, 6 days a week, and right at the end, all of a sudden, that group of very studious people, those very hardworking people, come together in a sort of musical concert at the end of every week, and just go wild with happiness and joy, singing Latin and Greek songs. And that I found that, and I said this could never exist in an American university. And so what I found was a connectedness to that tradition of the Latin language and the Latin culture, which I had not really expected. Gave a new life, gave a new breath into the idea of being connected with the traditions of philosophy and ethics and etc. And I came thinking I was only going to find connectedness to those sorts of traditions, and I realized that without a tradition to the actual culture, without a connectedness to the actual language,
Mm-hmm.
those traditions of philosophy and ethics, etc., sort of became sort of are mute without it, and that's really what I found, and I've really been surprised by it.
Yes.
I very much liked it.
I understand. And last question: what about the future? How you see? Do you have plans for the future? What you expect from the future, and from a professional point of view, and also from a personal point of view?
Well, I would say
exploiting this experience. I mean, connection with this experience.
I would say first off about the academy. In terms of professionalism, largely because I believe in a sort of humanistic worldview, that the study of the humanities is for anyone, and insofar as that's true, I would say that the academy is for anyone, and the academy is largely not, you come here to get a degree, such as a university. It's really kind of a neat place in the sense people come here to seek knowledge, to seek a better humanity, to become more human. And in that sense, I think no matter what you aim to do professionally, the academy is a place where you can and sort of ought to be if you can make it. And so I just, about the academy first. And then in terms of my own professional future, obviously I don't know everything, I don't have all the answers, but I would say that the academy afforded me largely opportunities to widen my range of what I wanted to study, where I thought I was interested in going. It certainly changed my perspective. I came in sort of hesitant about scholarly work in terms of long-term profession and being at the university, and I had sort of ideas of what I might want to study long-term, and they completely changed when I got here. I found I have a newfound love for literature, and specifically the study of literature and language, of course, and those sorts of things. And I would say that it's not just about the arts here, because several of the students in just my class have found a great new interest in sciences, and the science, particularly cognitive science, which you would think, oh, in this school which just studies Latin and Greek and the humanities, that would never happen. But I think it's not too far out to say that we might have a few cognitive scientists that are going to come from this academy, which is sort of sounds ridiculous, but that's very much the case. And so my own professional future, I think I might move into the sciences as well, as I found a great deal of interest in them and their connection with the arts, which the academy afforded me that opportunity. Personally, I would say that I came to the academy to be a better human. I came to learn to be a better person, to be more human. And so I didn't come to the academy seeking, how is this going to launch me into a good career? I really did come, personally, I'm hoping that after the academy, I will be able to basically take a little bit of the torch that this academy is, and take a little bit of the light that says, Latin and Greek are important, the study of the humanities is important, and we live in a world largely where society tells you these things are, annoying or out of date or useless. And really, I hope to take sort of what I've learned here and bring it back to America to hopefully continue the good fight towards a world where the general populace can free themselves through these seeds of truth, through the study of the humanities and becoming more human.
Excellent plan.
Yeah, well, thanks. Hopefully I can do it.
Yes. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you.